So, this is the story you made up about who you are. It's a nice one.
Too bad it isn't true.
At the end of season 5, we are left with a thoroughly damaged House who well, he's always been damaged, but he's finally come to accept the damage.
Are you okay?
No. I'm not okay.
And has taken the big step of trying to get himself better and putting himself in the hands of experts, having believed all the way through his life that he was really, he himself was the only expert who mattered.
The last shot of episode 24, the door closed on House, and we don't know what that inside world is going to lead to. Heading into season 6, we wanted to follow House from the minute the doors closed and he got sucked into that world until he was well enough to come out. The audience comes back and you've missed that period of time. In this case, it took place in real time over a series of months. So the first thing that sort of changed about the format was how are we going to tell the story over that period of time?
Welcome to Ward 6.
Also, the notion of not having a medical mystery is kind of a fun departure for us, you know, House as the patient.
Katie Jacobs loves to shoot new sets when she's directing, so this was just kind of a research quest that she wanted to know if House went into a psychiatric hospital, what hospital would that be?
It was a different process because we were, you know, sort of creating from scratch a whole new world with all different characters in a new space. So it was much more like prepping a movie, but in a very short period of time.
I knew Katie wanted something very visual, so it was hard to find a building that had that look, that wasn't too scary, as in it was like, you know, it had to be believable that it could be a working psychiatric hospital.
When you shoot a series in LA that imagines that it takes place in New Jersey, it's hard to find, you know, a building that hasn't been shot in that way and that also has that kind of East Coast gravitas.
Unfortunately, you couldn't find a building like that in California. They don't exist. So it became evident that if we wanted that look, we'd have to go to New Jersey, which, you know, that was a major step for this shooting company, as in we haven't gone on a big location like that. So we looked at all the hospitals around New Jersey, and we tried to find something that had a little bit of character. And we found this Greystone Hospital. I showed Katie this picture, and she was very interested in it, and we kind of went from there.
I need help.
It was very exciting because we've been living inside Princeton, Plainsboro, which is a great set to be in, but we, you know, to build a whole new hospital was very exciting for us.
We had visited the real place in New Jersey at the end of last season. And it's a very imposing, forbidding, not quite Gothic, but heading that way, sort of a building, now disused, decommissioned. And then come back to Los Angeles and they recreate this extraordinary institution out of plywood and gum.
Jeremy built a model, and that allows me to see sort of real representation of what it's going to look like. And I can look through certain ways and see the feel of it.
It's kind of, you know, a little bit breathtaking when you think about making a little model because everything is worked out on paper, but sometimes practically it doesn't work out. So you always have to adjust the design and make decisions every day that kind of keep you on course and make sure that when the set is done, you've done it for the money you said you would do and the time that you said you would do. So you always have to adjust.
Personally, I am always reluctant to talk about the magic that goes into the making of sets because we go to all this trouble to make something fake look real, and then we go, hey, it's all fake. I don't know, let's not give away the secret. But anyway, there is the magic of these sets, the construction of the psychiatric hospital was absolutely amazing.
I
It's a difficult thing because it's quite a small stage, so everyone was looking for quite a large set for the story arc, so it was difficult to build on that stage, but still we built it on a deck to allow ourselves to have a better working platform.
Basically, it came down through Jeremy, the production designer, saying that this is going to be our project, and you know, I work with them with, you know, developing the drawings for ease of construction and the reality of how things have to work a lot of times. I first had to pull House's apartment off of this stage and stored it for the meantime to make room for this set that pretty much encompasses the whole stage. Then they pass down the prints and we go to town. I have a core crew of about 25 guys that I work with all the time. You know, I have painters, plasters, carpenters, grips that are all working together, trying to get the same end product. And if everyone doesn't work together, then it'll cost quite a bit more.
Steve and I work very closely together just to see what we can do in the time and the look and how to get that. And Steve is very capable construction coordinator. He's got a lot of experience, and we have to work together to make things happen that the director wants, and trying to know what you can fudge and the audience will never see. And then there's detail elements that will be on camera that you have to spend your resources on, so it's always a balancing act.
This is a really fun build because it's an older hospital and there's a lot more character in it. It's an incredible attention to detail. We're actually making round moldings, which is a pretty tough process and something that you really won't see usually on a television show. And but to make this a real looking set, that is sort of the process we have to go to with the type of architecture that we do have here. We're very fortunate to be able to build something that is as creative as this building.
Built the set before we had a script, and we cast a number of the actors before we had a script. So what we're trying to do is create opportunities within this set for storytelling.
Carpentry that went into this place was absolutely breathtaking. If you could find carpenters that good to make your house, you'd be doing well. The texture of it, the way the paint was worn and cracked, the way the hinges were sort of scratched away on the doors, the linoleum, the details of it were absolutely amazing.
You want the feature look, but also has to be easy to shoot, has to be easy to light. So there's a lot of people that have to work together to make the environment what it is in the end. It's a very collaborative process.
And action!
Picture that you see outside the windows. So we had to go to New Jersey and actually physically shoot the backing with a photographer. The backing is going to be the kind of nervous part of that for me because it's quite ambitious to have windows on 3 sides, so it's basically a backing that is 150 feet wide that will tie the whole set together. Trying to figure that all out. That's probably the most difficult part. It either works or it doesn't work. The only way to see whether a backing works in the end is to print it and hang it, and you see. Today is the cumulative of basically going to New Jersey, taking the photograph, and we're going to start rigging the backdrop, which is basically the picture that is outside of the windows in the day room. Oh, yeah. In our terms, it's basically the feeling of New Jersey and not being in New Jersey. It's kind of the camera trick, or one of the tricks that we do to make us look like we're on location when we're actually in Los Angeles. The backing does its job. You hopefully don't notice it, and it just makes you feel that you're in New Jersey and that's where you are. I'm pretty nervous because there's people that are nervous about it because it's always a compromise. And, in the film business, nothing is perfect. But, you know, there's no time to change it or anything, so I'm just going to be happy that it's up. This backing, it's all done really in the conjunction with the DP and myself, trying to, you know, get that balance of what he needs and what I want, you know? And hopefully we meet in the middle.
Is it just going to free hang like this? Or...
Well, I'll put bungee cord on the bottom.
Yeah.
And then so to keep this little wavy thing out,
Right.
so when we find that we like it, we just
Okay.
throw some S-hooks on it with the bungee cord.
Okay,
And
so
then if you have to move it, it only takes us, you know, a little bit.
just slide it down, yeah.
Right, right.
It's a bit too big to take in all at once. I think it's 150 feet by 20 feet. I suppose that's 15 stories if you put it vertically. You can see nowadays the resolution of these things is just absolutely amazing. I mean, it's like enormous. And, you know, just up to a couple of years ago, they used to print with dots about the size of your little finger, you know, so things have changed a lot. But it's a lot of work that goes into this because they've retouched all the windows and pretended that there's light coming through them, so a massive amount of Photoshop work went into creating this. You know, and I think they've done a really excellent job.
This backing is a composite of probably 5 or 6 pictures. It's a big challenge, the fact that it's a picture that basically has to curve. And then with the DP Gale Tattersall, we had to sit down and try and design that it works both day and night. So this backing is printed on both sides. It has the night on this side, so you light it from the back. So basically it's this black ink, and then the windows don't have any ink on it, so when you backlight it, the light comes through the vinyl, so it looks like the light's on in the window. So it's basically printed twice, once in the front and once in the back.
Until you actually put it up, you don't really know what the light levels are going to be that you get through it, so that's always a little bit of guesswork. You know, so there's a lot of light balancing that needs to go on. I think that the colour is another issue. It's actually incredibly difficult to print something on this large scale and have total accuracy over colour. And you can see there's always like subtle little things. For example, where these two pieces are joined, there's a slight colour shift there. But those are things that aren't really seen, you know, when you're shooting this through a window. And we'll probably put nets over the windows just to create a certain degree of atmosphere, so it's not pin sharp. I actually haven't had a huge amount of experience with backing, so it's a little bit of a learning curve for me. But you know, I think this is going to work a treat, and I think the perspective will be perfect when we get it right, you know, when we set it in the right place. But it's all good, you know.
These beautiful walls, and then, you know, you have to put the life inside it, and that's my job, is to create the environment, you know, make it feel lived in.
Yeah.
We do everything from the lamps to the desks to the furniture, the paperwork, the little signs on the windows and doors, and on person.
I've had a billion things happen to me in my life. How am I supposed to know which ones are relevant?
As far as I'm concerned, they're all relevant.
That's what this type of environment is supposed to create, you know, a warm feeling, a feeling that they're safe and there are people here to help them. Production design, set decoration, it's such a team effort. I work with amazing painters and, you know, and construction people and my team of dressers, and I mean...
Construction has put it together, and the set dressers have come in and put on their little final elements to make it more personal. Then it's my job to sort of give the actors things that will incorporate them into their environment so that they can tie everything together. Who knew? So those are the kind of elements that come up that are exciting, and they're elements that maybe people don't catch, but they're there, and I think they're important because that's my job.
Today, we're here to congratulate Greg House.
To build a whole, but being honest to the character and the development, we get psyched.
Every time we complete a set, we do a happy dance. A lot of times when we start the sets, we don't even think we have enough time to complete it. And we always seem to pull it off, and we definitely are, you know, me and my whole team are very, very happy. It's something you get to stand back and look at and appreciate. So it's a very satisfying job for everybody.